Let me just also mute out chimes. I think they're all is set. Okay.
Oh, welcome as you're doing that. Welcome, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to you if you're watching the replay. We're excited that you're taking the time for this first week one check in. I'm here with Dana. Of course, my name is Asha McLaughlin. We didn't introduce ourselves last time, we'd forgotten. I'm a natural health coach, and I'm a yoga and meditation teacher, breathwork coach, and I live on the East Coast. And it's my great pleasure and super passion to be with you as your co host for this Spring Healthy You Cleanse. Super happy you decided to join us. And I'm going to let Dana introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. Yes, apologies. I just jumped right in during our prep call and didn't introduce myself. So I'm feeling much better, by the way. I had a cold on Saturday. And I am an acupuncturist and an herbalist, and I have been working with doTERRA now for 8.5 years. And before doTERRA, I used to do a lot of cleansing. I used to specifically work in candida cleansing, which now I have different feelings on. So that happens as you learn and grow, you learn better ways. And this process was something that I started right away with doTERRA and I really felt a difference with. I had shown up with some vitamin deficiencies, and I had thought that I was eating perfectly, right? Smoothies, juices, all the things. And 1 month of the lifelong vitality, which is something that's part of this cleanse, took away those nutritional deficiencies for me. So it was actually, I came to doTERRA for the oils, but the supplements were a surprise to me. And so I enjoy doing this process personally as much as sharing it with all of you, and really learning each time. I posted up on the group this morning, like a couple of years back, someone was sprouting and I learned how to do sprouts in this cleanse. So we just learned so much together. And today and each week that we're going to be meeting is really about what's coming up for you. And we're going to give you a little bit of education on the products to start off with. And also go through this phase, what we're doing today in this phase. So I do have a little bit of a PowerPoint. Asha, I did make it. So should I pull it up now, you think?
Yeah, go for it. Let's jump in.
Do you see it?
Yes,
You see all of it, though. It's not playing yet, right?
it's not playing yet. Yeah, we
Okay,
see
cool.
this. Yeah, there you go.
So we're in Activate, and Activate is an important phase because some of us have not been on the Lifelong Vitality. I'm curious, everybody that's here with us live, have you been on the Lifelong Vitality before? You can just put it in the chat, or this is your
Yeah.
first time. But I want to address it because I know there are some people that are going to be listening to this later where it is their first time taking that Lifelong Vitality Pack. That is something I just shared my story. I have been taking now for 8 years. So that is in this cleanse. And it's also really a foundational part of having healthy habits, right? So we begin with two of these with our morning meal, two of these with our afternoon meal. I'm going to address some questions as I'm going through this because there's been some questions in the group. And so one of them is, if I don't have a morning meal, when do I do it? So in your first meal, right? So hopefully you are eating at least 2 meals a day. This is not really a cleanse process where we are fasting. You could fast if you're doing some intermittent fasting between the night and the morning, but you want to have food with taking these kinds of supplements to work, especially as we're working in the gut. And then Terrazyme, we talked about attempting to take 5 of those a day. I say tempting because sometimes we forget. And I want to address that because we don't need to take if we forgot all of the supplements the day before, take them the next day, for example, or try to ram them all into one serving. We can just move on, right? We have 30 days in this process, so we can just move on to the next time that we would take, the appropriate time that we would take the supplement. Okay. Then our Zendocrine complex, we're going to take one in the morning and one in the afternoon, along with that Lifelong Vitality Pack. You're going to just put that in that little hand of yours and take them all together. Okay. As well as the Zendocrine soft gel, which is the oil. And then we're drinking our lemon essential oil or your citrus of choice in our water all day long, starting slow and building up to having more. Asha, do you want to say anything about this and questions that have come up around these things that you've seen?
No, you really covered it. I just wanted to again stress the importance of the water. Water is not optional in this cleanse. It is a huge part, right? It's a vehicle that's helping the flushing happen. And so many of us, we were talking about it before we pressed record. Many of us are water drinking challenged. I used to be, and until I started working with the oils. But it's really, really important to drink the recommended amount of water. I just wanted to stress that.
Yeah, I love water, so I'm always confused by the like people. My mom is one of them. She's like she can go a whole day without drinking any water, but her health suffers for it. I see it, right? And so it's thank you. It's really it's a really important one. So I also wanted to make mention of our symptom checklist tracker list that we have in the group. I'm actually not sure if it's been uploaded onto the website, so we'll make sure that it is today. Here down here, I have it so I can grab it and put it in the chat. Oops, let me hold on one second. Let me do that. I can put it in the chat for you all now. But make sure you fill that. If you haven't filled it out, make sure you fill that out today. It is so helpful. I'm coming back to check yourself. And actually, you can make a little folder and you can check yourself year to year with this and see what have you been working with, because the way our bodies and mind connection works is it's super easy for us to forget when we have a problem and we get better, which is wonderful because we're basically built to move forward and not stay in that. The problem is that when we are working on our health, we sometimes then fall back into the bad patterns if we're not tracking ourselves and seeing what's working for us, what's not working for us, what kinds of problems we're seeing in general, in what area, and it can give us an indication of what area we want to focus on after the cleanse. So fill this out, print out 2 copies, one to fill out now and one to fill out in the end.
And you'll be delighted at the end when you get to notice things that have shifted. It's really worth it. I think you're muted, Dana.
Yeah, I had a cough. I am better, but talking a lot. I am chi deficient. I'm lung chi deficient. So I can, I have to take a
You want me to do
pause.
this one?
Yeah, would you for a moment?
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely. So we wanted to introduce you, if Zendocrine Oil Blend is new to you, we wanted to just put up this slide and really call out why we're using this and why this is beneficial, particularly on the bottoms of the feet on a daily basis. This is such a power-packed blend, you guys, and so let's look at what's in here and what it does. So we have tangerine, which is wonderful support for the liver and gallbladder in its detox process. Juniper berry, incredible for all the excretion organs, really. The urogenital tract and the kidneys. Cilantro is a heavy metal chelator. So if you've ever been told you have heavy metals in your system, this is a gentle, effective way to work with that. And geranium is a lymphatic stimulant. It's a hormone balancer. Again, great for liver and kidney. It's like a tonic for them. It's something I use every single day, actually. And then we have rosemary, which is a liver decongestant, and it decreases or lowers the stress hormone cortisol. So, yes, right? Can we raise our hand? Like, who would like to put this on the bottoms of their feet? Has anybody had a surgery where you had to be anesthetized? Has anybody, right? So it's like there's many reasons why we would want to work with this blend. And it was a really great blend to use during the cleanse process. So we wanted to just call this out and really emphasize what's in here, what it does. Did you
It's
want
our
to add?
it's our first 1 to 10 days we're taking this. So I also wanted to add that it's emotional side of it to just let everyone know what this oil is. This is the oil of vitality and transition. And when we're taking it internally, when we're smelling it, when we're putting it in the bottoms of our feet, like Asha said, it helps us deal with the difficulty of transition. So I love that this is in the first part of the cleanse because honestly, the first 3 days are usually the hardest days. Then it gets much easier, but this is just the first couple days of switching your patterns, remembering when to take what, maybe feeling a little off. Day 2, usually this is the day where you might feel a little off. It also really helps us work with the energetics of self-sabotage. So that can come up too, where we can just give up right away. You know what? I'm too busy. I don't have the time. I can't do this, even though for weeks we've been planning it, right? So this is a really beautiful oil. If you don't have the oil, if you just got the capsules, you can even pop one open if you want to smell it, and put it on the bottoms of your feet so you can experience the oil and the smells of it to really experience that the energetics of really reawakening our vital life energy. And this is coming from the Emotions in Essential Oil book. This is this is the 6th edition. I think there's a couple editions since, but I love this book to really tap into the energetics of it because, while we're cleansing, watch our emotions come up as we've been talking about, right? And then let's just talk about Terrazyme because Terrazyme is with us for the entire cleanse. And it's with me for my entire life, I should say. Who here takes this all the time? This is for me a daily.
Me too.
I am gluten intolerant. And so recently, actually, they replaced one of the enzymes. This is an enzyme complex. They replaced one of the enzymes with an anti-gluten enzyme. So I wanted to start there, even though it's at the bottom, because a lot of us aren't sure what we're doing with our diet. And I saw some questions about level 2 in the elimination diet. And gluten is usually a great one to give up. But 30 days isn't long enough to really know if you are actually becoming inflamed from gluten. You would actually really need to pause on it for 6 months. So I wanted to address that here. So if you have a mishap and you take Terrazyme, it's going to help with that mishap, but you're still going to process it through, right? So it's not the magic eraser, right? I just want to say that. And each one of these enzymes has a specific targeted aspect of the digestive system, our process that it helps break down, right? So we can look at each one of these. Protease helps break down peptides and amino acids, right? It helps break down that protein. You can see all along the way we have something that helps us break down fat, something that helps us break down starches and sugars. A really cool experiment to do with Terrazyme is to make 2 bowls of oatmeal and open one up and put it into the oatmeal in one bowl and watch it just dissolve. It's really cool. Have you ever done that, Asha?
No, but I've seen a video of it. And I want to point out that it's not just breaking it down, it's making it more absorbable. See? So it's actually it's making it into a consistency that the cell wall, it's actually called, the cell is called the lumen inside the intestinal tract that actually absorbs the nutrients. And so by breaking it down, by helping us break down the food, by taking all these digestive enzymes, we get more nutrients out of what we're eating. And one last point I wanted to make about that is, even though these are digestive enzymes, every single organ in our body draws enzymes to function. So it's not just our digestion, it's your brain, your lungs, your heart. Every organ in the body uses enzymes to function. And so normally, if we're not a raw foodie, if we're not vegan raw 24/7, we don't get enough enzymes in our daily diet to feed all the different organs, right? So not just digestion, but all the different organs that need enzymes to function properly.
If you have any like gift from this cleanse and this is your first time, this is something to really take note of how it helps you digest, absorb. Thank you for bringing that in, Asha. It's a wonderful, wonderful product. So that's all we're gonna educate on today in terms of the products, but we wanted to open it up and see if anybody needed some support or had any questions. Okay, go ahead, Virginia.
Would help if I took myself off mute. Okay, so my question is, I've been doing a protocol, like I take certain ones in the morning and I take certain ones during the day, LLV of course, but along with like at night, I take Serenity, and I'm trying to think what else on my protocol, but the point is, can I still take some of those things? Now, PB Assist, which I normally would be taking, now I've stopped until we get to that point where we'll add that in. But is it okay for me to be taking other supplements other than what's on the 30-day cleanse?
This is a great question. Everyone's asking this question. You are not alone in this question. And I'm going to say it's individual, right? So someone today, and I'm going to honor this question with your question folded in, asked about the DDR. If they take it daily, should they continue to take it daily? And so really the question is, well, why are you taking it daily? For what reason? If it's something that's really helping you function in other ways that you know your brain needs it, other parts of you that you know they need it, then continue to take it. But I always love to pause if we're just taking something because we know it's good for us, but we don't have the result. It's always healthy to pause and let our body take a break and come back to it and see, oh, wow, now I can really feel that DDR prime is helping me because it's in the last 10 days. So as that is an example. But another example would be other supplements that you might take, like vitamin D. I heard somebody asked about, maybe we talked about the phytoestrogen. That's something that I take continuously. There are other supplements that people are taking for sure to support other levels that, yes, continue to take them. If you can pause and not have it influence in a negative way, then you can also try to pause. It's always a healthy thing to do.
Thank you.
Sure.
Great question. Anybody else?
Hi, I'm Susan.
Hi,
Hi,
Susan.
Susan.
Just for a minute, I got thrown out of the whole system and I had to go back and start over again and get back in. And when I got back in, you were showing the symptoms sheet. Where do I find that so I can print it out?
It is in the prep guide on the Facebook group. I'm not sure if it's on the website. That was something I was saying. We're going to confirm that, and it'll be up on the website within the next 24 hours if it's not.
I noticed another one that looked different that I saw the other day, but I didn't print it out. And also, I'm using this, if you can see that.
Yeah.
And the Zenderkin oil is not on here.
It's as a capsule.
Right. So I'm taking the capsule, but I have the oil. I always like to use the oil, but I never have.
Yeah, so you can use it on the bottoms of your feet. You can actually choose to put a drop in with your water to taste it. You can experiment with it for sure.
And the other thing is, I have problems. I'm kind of off and on with sleep, and I did not sleep last night. I did not even sleep, even a minute. I have my little watch, and it says I got 1 hour of off and on.
So that's normal. Did you take a lot of new supplements yesterday?
I took them all.
Yeah. And they were new to
I
you?
I didn't leave anything out. I took them twice a day. And that's really the first time that I've done a complete, I always use LLB, but I only use 2 in the morning and then I don't use any more. So I use the 2 in the morning and the 2 in the evening and then all of the other ones. So I got the full dose. So is that,
So yeah, so that's norm. It is a normal reaction to have, especially if you have a tendency to having lighter sleep anyway. That's why you're tracking it. Probably your heart rate didn't go down to a complete resting heart rate because your body was processing new things. So
oh,
there's a few things that we can do to address that. One, you can take away your afternoon dose for a little while. Or you can bring in things like Copaiba and the Serenity soft gels at night to help you.
I routinely I take 2 adaptive and 1 serenity for sleep every night. And should I continue with that?
I would.
Yes.
Sleep is so important. And honestly, you're going to notice, Susan, it's going to be interesting to see how your sleep changes as we move forward.
Oh, I gotta
Because,
have some help with sleep. Oh, this is horrible.
yeah, I do too. But what I'm saying is, I personally, we're all biodynamic. Everybody's different on this cleanse and in life. But I have noticed over the years in cleansing on this particular program that I become more tired, that I need more rest. And it's my body's natural way of saying, hey, things are changing and you need to rest more. So that just naturally happens for me. But if I were you, I would keep your sleep support, especially if that's an issue.
Thanks. Asha, may I ask you what your last name is again? I missed it when you introduced yourself.
McLaughlin, MC, capital LAUGHLIN.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Susan, have you ever worked with taking magnesium at night?
No, I I think I took magnesium 100 years ago, but I can't remember. Um, does
I am also
doTERRA
not
have
a
a
great,
does doTERRA have a magnesium?
no, but I'm also not a great sleeper. So I take the Serenity, the Copaiba, and the magnesium, and that seems to be a magic remedy for me. So you could also look into magnesium glycate. We don't have it in our company, but you can look.
I take it too.
Okay.
It's good for sleep, it's good for movements in the morning, and it's good for muscles, achy muscles and stuff. So it's a good thing.
Okay. Thanks.
I know you weren't trying to add
Anyone else?
another supplement into your
I
routine,
know.
Susan, but but I just wanted to offer you that because it really has brought me a deeper sleep. I'm also working on my sleep. That's my tracker.
Thanks.
Sure.
Does
How about
anybody
anyone?
else want to jump on? You can unmute yourself, or if you're not comfortable unmuting, you can always write a question in the chat. I'm monitoring that. Virginia had asked about the book, and I put the name of the book and a link to where you can buy it. It's the Essential Emotions book. It is fantastic. I have to say, I love that book.
People are.
I also, as people are thinking about their questions, I just wanted to share it is such a great thing to breathe. Remember how we talked about the lungs being one of our emunctories, one of our releases for detox? And so taking a few deep breaths a couple times a day, just stopping to enjoy something, a visual, it could be a painting or it could be a leaf outside, but taking 3 to 5 deeper breaths and really using the full capacity of your lungs, I really enjoy this process. I can't tell you how wonderful it is for also calming anxiousness. So quieting the mind if you feel like you have too many thoughts going on. So I just wanted to share that tip.
Can I add one more thing? I just remembered. I have been off and on. I've been trying to do intermittent fasting. Should I keep with that, or should I make any changes with that?
Well, when you say intermittent fasting, are you doing it like stopping eating at 7 o'clock and then not eating till 11?
And that's why I don't eat a morning meal. I try to go
Uh-huh.
until maybe noon. Um, and lately I haven't, I break down about 10 or 11 and have something.
Okay. How is it working for you?
It worked really, really well at first. And
Uh-huh.
now it doesn't seem to be making any difference one way or the other.
And what when you say it worked really, really well at first, what was it working for?
Depression.
For depression. So at this point now you kind of leveled out and it's like you're not feeling as positive from it, but and also not as negative, or is it just kind of gone back to your original source
I'm,
point?
I'm feeling, I'm feeling a little bit of balance in my mood, but the sleeping, I think frankly, I think the situation in the world has bothered me, and the stress of worrying about that kind of stuff has
Absolutely.
impacted. Um, and that's right around the same time that my sleep started to get bad again. Um,
Mhm.
Totally understandable. Yeah.
so that's
And
why
you're not alone,
the
Susan.
the adaptive is so helpful. I mean, there are some days I just have to pop an adaptive in the middle of the day.
Yeah, and you
Not
can have
often.
you can and you are adaptive is in your evening nighttime sleep protocol.
Yes.
Okay, good. So you know, intermittent fasting, you can take breaks from it. So you can say, you know, this week I'm going to intermittent what you've been doing maybe 3 times and give your body the other days to just eat as you want. And then you can go back to it. It's not going to, you're not going to, like the example of gluten that I said, we really need to take gluten out for 6 months. With intermittent fasting, you're not going to ruin the stride that you've been in. Um, so you could take breaks because you're cleansing right now. So this is really something for you to feel out. And I know that's like you want me to give you an answer. Maybe Asha, you'll have
No.
an answer too, but it's something that you need to feel and see. Like you said, oh, I'm hungry at 10. You should eat. If you're hungry, you should eat. Um, I think at the end of the 30 days, you're going to probably also see a shift in your mental energy. That's what happens when we cleanse. So stay the course and pause if you need to pause on the intermittent fasting. But if it seems like if it's a good habit for you, it probably is a good habit for you if you had that initial spark, you know? Yeah,
Thanks.
of course.
The other thing to think about is that we are taking a lot of supplements, and
Yeah.
we don't recommend these on an empty stomach. And so maybe you are going to have a little something a little bit earlier just so you can take your supplements, right? So
Good point.
we're making great choices, right? We're making really good food choices right now. So it's not going to hurt in any way. I personally do intermittent fasting and have for years, Susan. So, but I'm the kind of person that I can take my LLV and my supplements with a cup of coffee with oat milk. Like that's enough of something in my stomach for me to take. A lot of people don't. They really need food with those supplements. So that's why Dana's saying we all kind of have to figure it out for ourselves, a little bit of fine tuning for you. But keep us posted. Okay, we're almost at time, but let's just see if there's anyone else. Any last questions or thoughts or comments or
I would just like to make a comment. I appreciate, Dana, you giving me advice on, because I'm on a pharmaceutical that I have to take. It's not something I can just drop. The protocol, the best way to do it by taking it first before I take the Zender complex dual, you know, the complex and the soft gel. So I really appreciate that. That was very, very helpful for me.
Oh, good. Yeah.
I've done the cleanses before, but I found it interesting that last night when I went to bed, and I've never had this reaction that I recall, I was itchy, literally itchy. And I thought, do I have bed bugs? I know I don't, but it was it took me a long time to fall asleep. So I don't, it's not stopping me from anything, but it was interesting that I had that experience. So it was just like, I just felt like it was an awful feeling, but I was fine.
Yeah,
and
I know that itch, Florence. I've
Okay.
had that detox itch before.
Oh, thank you.
It's normal, or it is a reaction. Our skin, our largest organ, venting, and also the liver. There's like a liver hormonal component in there.
Yeah, and I do
With
have
that.
I was diagnosed with a fatty liver 2 years ago. So
So you might have that for a little bit.
okay, okay, yeah,
Yeah. So try and avoid. Well, it's tricky to say like what might be triggering it for you, but there might be like a food group that you might see, like corn, for example. Corn is often something that can trigger that reaction. So kind of see what did you eat, and see, and trying to avoid like, oh, I had that, and then again it was itchy right after, like 20 minutes after I ate it, and see if that has anything to do with it. But it also could just be your liver processing.
yeah. I suspect it's probably the process of my liver. I am going to do a castor oil pack, but I thought maybe I should wait a few days before I do the first time do it, so my body can adjust to doing the detox. Does that make a difference at all?
Because you had that itchy experience, you could do it today. I wouldn't need
Yeah,
to
I
wait.
wouldn't wait.
It'll help you,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like we talked about the emunctories, right? The digestion, the lungs, and the largest one, as Dana said, is your skin. So right out of the gate, she was saying, "Ooh,
Uh-huh.
we're making some changes. It's not necessarily a bad thing, you know?"
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you
Okay.
for sharing that.
Yeah. Thank you. I was a little bit embarrassed about the itchiness, but I thought I'm just
Oh
gonna.
gosh.
I'm glad I asked. Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
Also, Florence, if you can get a little like a faster walk in or a little sweat in, that's going to help a lot.
Okay.
Whatever kind of sweat you can get, from a sauna to a walk to just making it hot in your house, but a nice sweat would be really good.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good. Thank you.
Of course. Melanie's saying she relates to the itch too. Hi, Melanie. Use a lot of lavender and frank. You could also put this endocrine oil on your feet. That'll help. That'll help the body.
Oh, that's a good tip. Yes, I can totally relate to the itch because my feet were itching, which I think it was like, that like extreme like circulatory kind of effect.
Yeah.
And it was really strange, but that worked for me. I don't know what anyone is allergic to or has preferences for, but that really helped.
I love that
I've
you
had
brought
that
up, Melanie, lavender, because it is an antihistamine, right? And so it can be very comforting on the bottoms of the feet or on the skin. Thank you for mentioning that.
All right. Any other questions we can complete? I scheduled us out just in case people wanted to come in later, but if we're all complete, we're good. So the recording will be up as soon as I get this. I try to turn it around really quick so that it's available. And then throughout the week, we're available on the Facebook group. So definitely share your experiences, your recipes, what you're cooking with and inspired by or struggling with, for sure. Let's stay close, and for sure we'll see you next week. But any last questions?
Drink your water. Drink your water. We all, Dana and I have ours right here. So for sure.
And at 3:00, if you're available on Facebook, Dr. Emily Plasker is coming at 3:00 to talk to us, particularly women, about our relationship with food and our bodies. This is for any age, and she's just really dialed into this conversation really beautifully. So if you can make it on the Facebook group, that'd be wonderful. She'll be there. All right.
So
thanks, everyone.
incredible. Thank you so much, Dana, for getting that for us, getting that organized. That's going to be a really wonderful talk. Yay! Thanks for being here, guys. Have a wonderful day. We
I
will
have a
see
quick
you next
question.
week. Oh, good.
Quick question. So when you guys go on live, is there a certain, do we automatically get a notice that you're on live rather than have us just try to seek to find out where the live is? Does anybody know?
It used to be that way, but it doesn't do it anymore.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just onto the page.
Go onto the page and you should see her there. Yeah,
Well,
it's really
I'll-
it's Facebook changes their circumstances time and time again, and that's why we didn't set up the Zoom. Asha I kept blocking, and
Okay.
she's a very busy chiropractor. She's a functional chiropractor, which she's not going to talk to us about today, but she's really she's just going to go onto the Facebook. Yeah, that's our gift.
But if you follow the group, which I'm sure all of you are in the group, it will give you a message like that so and so's gone live. I think in your message
it might show up in your notifications. It's hit or miss. Yeah, it's hit or miss, unfortunately, these days.
That's why it's good to just know. You've told us what time it is. So it's 3 Pacific, 6 Eastern, correct?
Yeah. Yep.
Great.
Yeah, and she's very timely. She'll be there.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next week.
See you soon. Be well, be happy.